Whether you're picking and grinning or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up.
Jason, I am insanely jealous, although very happy about your experience at Cowan Creek.
Yeah.
The videos and all the stuff that you shared was, just amazing. So can you tell us, and me, all about your experience there?
Sure. So just to recap for those who may not know or didn't hear us talking about this at some point earlier in the year on the podcast, my daughter Katie and I spent last week when we were recording this, it was the last week of June, in Whitesburg, Kentucky, attending the Cowan Creek Mountain Music School. And it has been going on. This was the 25th anniversary of Cowan Creek becoming a thing. And basically it is a collection, a community of mountain and traditional musicians and artists who basically teach their craft to anyone who wants to learn. But I think the original purpose was to make sure that they were passing on mountain and traditional music making to younger generations, which they have very successfully done for 25 years. In fact, we've talked about Ella Webster a lot on this show because she is not only Cole Chaney's fiddle player, but also the daughter of somebody I went to high school with and someone who I have familial ties with to a degree, not by blood, but grew up around her dad and uncle and whatnot. And of course, we've had Larry and Cheryl Webster on the show before, legendary mountain traditional artists and influential people. And that's Ella's grandparents. Well, Ella started going to Cowan Mountain Music School, Cowan Creek Mountain Music School, when she was 7 years old and developed her skills as a fiddle player there and became one of the more in-demand fiddle players in Americana country folk music these days. But nonetheless, Katie went as a student to take the intermediate guitar class. And then I went as just an observer, really. And Grace Rogers, who runs Cowan Creek Mountain Music School, who is an artist in her own right, and the daughter of Don Rogers, who is the guitarist for the local Honeys, who we've talked about here on the show as well. But Grace had the good graces to let me come and be a fly on the wall and just kind of experience it. And so your instructors in this school are Grace Rogers, Don Rogers, both of the local Honeys, Montana Hobbs and Linda Jean Stokely. Ella Webster taught beginning fiddle, I think, for the first time this year. And there are several other, like John Haywood, who was on our program very early on a couple years ago. Legendary mountain banjo expert and virtuoso, if you will. So those are the types of caliber of people who are teaching these classes. But more importantly, I think what has happened over the last 25 years at Cowan Creek Mountain Music School is a real hardcore community of people who love and support each other because they love and support mountain and traditional music has formed. And so that's why when you talk to Linda Jean Stokely, the people that she recommends or the people that she wants to introduce to you are Don Rogers and, Ella Webster and so on and so forth. And it extends beyond into musicians that I don't even know or am not aware of. So I learned and met a whole new group of people that have bands and that perform and that create there. And then got to network with the ones that were there that I'd already known, several of whom have been here on the show, or we've at least talked about. And I don't think I've ever been around a community like that where by the third or fourth day, I felt like I was welcome in the community and part of the community. And I was just a fly on the wall. I wasn't in the classes. I went to one of the singing jams.
Okay.
Cause they have a class in the morning. Then they have lunch, and then they have like a workshop in the afternoon, and then they have an hour jam session where everybody just kind of breaks up and just jams.
Nice.
And then they have some sort of evening performance. And then from like 9 o'clock on, it's other jams. And so they'll have, several just informal jams, or they'll have one night they had an official sort of singing jam. And Katie and I went to just see what it was like. And so we learned a bunch of traditional mountain rounds and things like that and participated. I even sang.
What?
Nobody ran out of the room with their ears on fire. So that was good.
Wow. Did you sing Gin and Juice?
No, I didn't. No. I played along and sang along with the crowd. I didn't try to draw attention to myself.
Oh,
which was
that's
unusual.
Really? Okay.
In fact, that was the whole thing for me was, I'm sitting here with a half a dozen or more people that I like almost idolize because they're incredibly talented musicians.
Right.
And I'm in the same room with them. I'm giddy, right? I had to reel it in. I was like, I'm intentionally going to sit in the corner and try not to bring attention to myself, because if I do, or if someone starts to talk to me, I'll be like, oh my God, what's it like on the road? I would have gone crazy asking questions and annoying the shit out of them. And so, several times I either turned into a fanboy or almost turned into a fanboy. And then,
whoa. And then there's more.
On Thursday, there was a faculty performance, and some of the kids performed as well. Out on one of the amp stages, Levitt Amp program, which is like the outdoor amphitheater just off downtown Whitesburg, and they have a weekly music series in the summer. Well, that week it was the Cowan Creek Mountain Music School was the act, the performers.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there with Katie. We've got our little lawn chairs, and we're sitting in front of the stage, and I look over, and Larry and Cheryl Webster are there, which thrilled me to no end. I got to go over and say hi to them again. They had actually been there the night before at another thing, so I saw them twice that week, which was awesome. But I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, this person kind of walks by me, and I look up quick enough to realize, oh, that's Jesse Wells, the musical director and lead multi-instrumentalist person and fiddle player virtuoso for Tyler Childers and the Food Stamps. So I'm like, okay, well, I've been at a half dozen or more events with this guy, and I've never gotten up the nerve to go over and say hello and introduce myself. So I grabbed Kay and said, let's go meet Jesse Wells. And of course, she's like, what? So Katie and I go over, and I find a moment to introduce myself. So we stood there and talked to Jesse for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or something like that.
Nice.
Whatever level on a scale of 1 to 100 of nice you think he is, multiply that by 1,000, and that's how nice he actually is.
Yeah.
And so we had a really good conversation, and it just really cool. And he actually said to me at one point, hey, Don Rogers turned me onto your podcast. Like, I see you guys in my feed. And I'm like, sweet. So Jesse, hi.
Hey, Jesse.
I'm glad that you knew who we were anyway. And then of course, we have a nice little pleasant exchange. I gave him a card, and he said, hey, if you ever want to talk, let me know. I'm like, dude, I want to talk all the time. So don't invite me to do that, 'cause I will. But I told him, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. We'll reach out and, talk about it later. And we will reach out and talk about it later at some point. So that was amazing. And then the next morning I was picking up Katie from the morning session to take her to the lunch session, which was at a different location. So I was there to kind of just chauffeur. And I happened that while I'm waiting, Jesse comes back out of one of the classrooms, and John Haywood comes up, and the three of us are standing there having a conversation. And Katie kind of turned the corner out of her classroom and saw her father talking to Jesse Wells and John Haywood at the same time. And she was like, what is going on? And I'm like, that's what I'm here to do. I'm just networking. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
But it really was a fantastic experience. And Cowan Creek Mountain Music School at the Cowan Creek Community Center, Whitesburg, Kentucky. Look those folks up. There was a couple there from Kansas. There were a couple other people from further out of state than that. Even lots of people in the Appalachian area, of course, because that's where that interest is going to be so high. But if you have any interest whatsoever in listening to or learning mountain music, learning how to play a dulcimer or a banjo or a fiddle or a guitar or mandolin or anything like that, or you're interested in mountain singing, mountain traditional singing. The class, by the way, was taught by Linda Jean Stokely this year. So if you're interested in any of that, look them up online. We'll have links to it in the show notes. It's usually the last full week of June. And it is just an amazing experience. I am so tickled that my daughter is a part of that community now. I'm tickled to maybe sort of kind of be tangentially part of that community
Right.
now. And it was just fantastic. It really was.
So the first time I learned about Cowan Creek, right? Cowan Creek Mountain Music School was when we talked to Linda Jean in Montana from the local Honeys. And I, like I said, I'd never heard of it. So of course my interest was piqued. So I have some questions, and if you can answer them, great. If not,
Okay.
then we can look them up. But can anybody attend? Like, what does it take to enroll at the music school?
Anybody can attend, and they even have a couple of scholarships.
Okay.
For people who might have some, financial issues and not really be able to afford it.
Okay.
They have some financial aid sort of type things that happen that you can apply for. But to be honest with you, as a parent who would send a teenager to a camp, it was probably the cheapest thing I've ever done.
Oh, really?
For one of my kids. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was, just the enrollment tuition, the fee you have to pay to go. You only take one class.
Okay.
So you pick the instrument that you want to learn, and you either do beginner, intermediate, or expert, or whatever they call it. And so if you don't know anything about banjo or fiddle or mandolin, you do that beginner class and you pay a fee. It's a couple $100. I don't remember exactly the amount of money it was, maybe $300-400.
Okay.
And that's, you get lunch all week. You get, all the class that you take, you get all the programming. You're a part of the community. You're in. There's no additional cost unless you want to buy posters and t-shirts and stuff.
Okay. And then what about accommodations?
Yeah, you gotta house yourself. You gotta find a place. Okay. Katie and I rented an Airbnb, and honestly, in Whitesburg, Kentucky, they're pretty economical.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That week, the locals who do Airbnb know, well, I can charge a little bit more because there's going to be higher demand. That's fine. You're still not going to pay a lot more than you would. You're not going to pay more probably than you would at most hotels in a major city.
Okay.
For a night. And so, and they also have camping and whatnot. So if you're into that, which I'm not, but if you are, then you can camp. It's the mountains. There's all kinds of opportunities for that. So yes, anybody can attend, and it's not that expensive.
Wow, that's good to hear. And then you attended as a fly on the wall, like you said. Is that standard? Can people just go and observe, or you had special permission?
I kind of had special permission as a member of the media. They give press passes to media folks, and we qualified, because we're out there talking about them on the internet as much as anybody. So I qualified as a media member, and I did have a relationship, friendship with Don Rogers and Grace Rogers. I had interviewed Grace for the Appalachian Echoes radio show. So I knew who they were. They knew who I was. There was a level of familiarity there and a level of trust. And I told them, hey, I'm a PR guy by trade. I know what media passes entitle you to and not. You just tell me what I can and cannot do, and I'll respect that. I actually, other than filming a couple of the musical performances, I took a little B-roll in case I want to, put some images up of Cowan's Creek over this conversation, which I probably will. So you can see a little bit of it too.
Yeah.
But I didn't really create a lot of content there. I was really there trying to just immerse myself in it and understand it better and be a part of the community and just be respectful of everybody's space and time and whatnot. Yeah. So, but no, I don't think you can just go and observe. You kind of have to, they need to know who you are. And I was not allowed, by the way, I was not allowed in the classroom. Okay. In the morning session, when you took your intermediate banjo or whatever, I wasn't allowed to go into those classrooms unless I got permission from the instructor and the class approved and knew what I was doing. So if I wanted to go in and do a B-roll video, or I wanted to record somebody doing a performance, I would have had to have gotten permission from everybody before I did that. But I just kind of stayed out of the way. I didn't want to be an interloper as much as I probably came across as.
And then, are there age requirements or age limits for participants?
I'm not 100% sure if there is an age limit on the low end, but if there is, it ain't real. It ain't a lot. Ella Webster started going when she was 7. Actually, there was Kids on the Creek which so they have a youth program where I mean, I don't think there's an age limit as long as you can pay attention and make noise, you can show up and be there. And they actually performed a little recital. They all learned dulcimer songs.
Oh,
And so the kids were great. Kids on the Creek, and they were actually, incidentally, the kids on the Creek were taught. The teachers were Chris Bailey Preston and Melanie Turner, who are two members of Coletown Dixie, an all-female bluegrass band based in Pikeville, Kentucky.
wow. Look at that.
And Chris, incidentally, is one of the two people who organizes the Mountain Girl Experience, which I attended last year, and we'll go back again this year. Emily Jamerson's going to be there. The local honeys are going to be there. So, but yeah, so taught by qualified musicians and whatnot in that same vein of what Cowan Creek is all about. So yeah, I don't think there's an age limit on the lower end, and there damn sure ain't an age limit on the upper end.
Nice.
And I say that not to be humorous, but I say that because lots of older folks there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, more than 30 or 40% of the audience was above the age of 60, but there were some older folks there for sure. But also too, they, in their 25-year anniversary thing, they paid some tribute to some people, who have passed on in the last few years who were involved. And let me tell you something. If you're a member of the Cowan community, you're a member of the Cowan community until you drop off the face of the earth. Like the people stay, they come back, they keep coming back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, but a very heartfelt and wonderful tribute to some of the people that they lost in the last few years. I saw that, and you can just feel the community vibes in things like that. So that's part of the reason it made it so special.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I might have to go next year.
Well, I honestly think that if you came and brought Lucia, and you could enroll in either beginner or intermediate banjo, I think, and you might be taught by John Haywood, which is amazing. And I would assume Lucia would probably do a guitar, but she could do entry level or intermediate, whatever she plays. Katie is going to go back next year. She's already trying to. How many of my friends can I bring with me? Like, she loved this thing.
Aw.
So she'll come back
Awesome.
next year, and I don't know if she'll do a more advanced guitar or if she'll do beginner some other instrument. But
Okay.
I think she loved being around Grace Rogers, who was kind of running everything, because Katie's more of I want to go into the event management, organizational management part of music, not necessarily performing, although she'll perform, I'm sure, as well. But she loved just watching what Grace was doing and some of the teachers and how they were organizing things, in addition to kind of just being a part of the music piece, which was really, really empowering for her.
That's awesome.
And I will say this too. I'm sure somebody pointed this out. I'm not the first person to say it, but I really got to give Cowan Creek a tip of the cap, because there are so many incredibly powerful women who are involved with this thing, whether it's Grace running it or the teachers. But my daughter had her, the lot's pick of female role models in this business at this thing. Linda Jean Stokely, she'll light a room up if she needs to. She'll get fired up. She'll get fired up and tell you how it is.
Yep.
But her, Montana, Ella, Olivia Pepiot was there. She's in a couple of bands that I know of and is a real talented fiddle player. God, there were just so many great women role models there for my daughter to learn from. And I appreciate the hell out of that too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's we got to keep the conversation going with Cowan Creek, and maybe we can do a Roots Music Rambler Cowan Creek deal.
Ooh, that would be neat. We could all forego and we could interview everybody there while we're there. That'd be cool.
I think the plan's been hatched.
All right, we'll work on that. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank,
and he's Falls,
and we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love.
Today on the show, the hard-driving rhythm and blues band Yarn is our focus, as founder and band leader Blake Christiana joins us on the program. So you may recall a few months ago, we had Andy Thomas on the show to talk about his solo project, Highway Junkie. So Andy was Yarn's lead guitarist before jumping out to do the solo stuff. So we're familiar with the band, and Falls, Andy is still a part of Yarn, yes?
He is, but he's obviously out on the road supporting his solo effort, and that's something we want to ask Blake about. As Yarn has always had sort of a rotating cast of characters a little bit, which I'm sure presents some interesting issues. But Blake and the band have gone out on social already recently and said Andy is doing his solo thing and they want him to be hugely successful with it. He's still in the band and he'll still be playing future gigs with them and such. But we'll get Blake's breakdown of all that today on the show.
All right, cool. Look forward to it. I do enjoy Andy's solo, the Highway Junkie. That's really good. And so Blake and Yarn released what we believe to be their 11th album just this past April. It's called Saturday Night Sermons, and it features the single Good Things, which has helped the album to a top 10 spot on the Americana charts recently. So they continue to churn out some great stuff.
That's right. I love the Good Things. This is just a good, just a good song to jam to. The band has found itself nominated for a handful of Grammys over the years. This latest album is a really good honky tonk rhythm and blues effort. I've been binging on it. Oh God, for a couple of months now. When I first heard this Good Things single, I started, I want to listen to this. And when it came out fully, I think in April, I started just playing it in regular rotation. Blake has got himself a heck of a band. We're going to find out more about how all that came to be.
Yes. And then we'll have our Pickin the Grinnin segment where we offer up recommendations for songs, albums, artists, or other things we're listening to that are making us grin. And it's our way of recommending new music and such to all of you. And those of you who are watching, I don't know if you could see my dog behind me. She's trying to make her, she wants to be a part of the show. All right. Anyway.
Get her up there. All right. Let's jump out and listen to the messages from the fine sponsors that make this show happen so we can get to it. Grab a refill, buckle up, and get ready for Blake Christiana from Yarn. When we come back, this is Roots Music Rambler.
Same old sad and bad things. I won't feel sorry for myself. I'm gonna smile for a while.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. You put that song on when you just want a good rock and roll tune to lay back to. That's called Good Things. It's the hit single from Yarn's new album, Saturday Night Sermons. As we record this, the record is still in the top 15 on the Americana charts after popping up into the top 10. And Blake Christiana, the man behind the band and the music, is with us on the show. Blake, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic, man. Never been better.
That's good. I guess we should start off with the obvious. The record and the single have been solidly planted on those Americana music charts for several weeks running now. I know it's not the first success you've had, but man, it must be nice for this new record to be so well received. What's the last few weeks been like for you guys?
Well, just the last few years in general has been really good for us. And it's funny about the Americana charts and that whole genre of music that has exploded, really. I mean, when I started 20 years ago, I didn't even know what it was. And I had a friend who would put a record out. He was in a band called the Doc Marshalls, and he told me about, you got to get a radio promoter. They got this whole Americana outlet in this chart that you got to be on. And I didn't even know what Americana was. And it was a lot easier back then to get on those charts. And since it's gotten a little trickier. So for us to get to number 9, I mean, you're competing with the Black Crowes and Sturgill Simpson and I mean, what's that band with the banjo that made it huge?
Mumford and Sons.
Or Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons. I mean, it's like, wow, okay, it gets a little harder.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you, it means a lot. It really does. I know it's might be, sometimes it feels stupid to care about those things, but it does mean a lot.
Sure. And it's your livelihood. So we think this last record is number 11 for you overall. So you guys have been around for a while. So what, if anything, it was different with your approach with this album than maybe the previous ones?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of albums I've made were I did it with a friend of mine, Damian Calcane, up in New Jersey, and we produced it together. He engineered it. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't care as much. I was just. We were just in there making music, and I cared more about what I was trying to say, and less about how many people were going to listen to it.
Okay.
And I think. And I think I'm going further and further in that direction, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, no, I want someone to listen to it and maybe think twice about something they've believed or something. I don't know. I'm just getting old and sentimental, and I cry all the time, you know.
Aw. Well, that's
yeah,
part
no,
of getting older too. We don't care too much about what other people think anymore.
yeah, you know, I've always been good at that. Like that's what makes me an unapologetic songwriter is I never censored myself. I never really edited myself. That could be a good thing. That can be a bad thing, you know? So I think, yeah, not caring what people think is important in order to just get it out there, you know, because I mean, it's half the stuff I probably put out there, I might not have fully thought was great, you know, or had the confidence in, but sometimes you just gotta roll the dice. So these last 2 records have been really important. I've just been really trying to preach the opposite of what we're all involved in, and the division and the hatred and the fear mongering and I just want to find some peace in music. You know, I write a lot of sad songs. I write a lot about struggle, and this doesn't shy away from that at all. But I also I just couldn't put anything negative into the world on this run around, and that was my main goal, and
Nice.
that's where this album was born.
Well, it's nice to see that the audiences are responding. At least whatever indicators go into making those charts work, the album's doing some good, which is awesome to see and hear. Now, you're obviously the anchor, band leader, primary songwriter, and such for Yarn. But as we explained to folks in the our opening segment, our pal Andy Thomas is off supporting his first solo album, but was, and I still believe is, very much still a member of the band. First, tell us a little bit about Andy and how you guys got to working together, and what's your perspective on band members kind of going off and doing their own thing too?
Well, with Andy in particular, I mean, I think he was 18 years old when he came to see Yarn for the first time, and I got
and he's
a
like
few
20
years
now,
on him.
right?
Yeah, right. So you know, he was just, you know, when his band started touring, a friend of mine was managing them, and I remember him calling me and saying, "Oh, I just picked up this band, Tronconi band. They're killer," you know, and so they did some shows with us back when they were in their early 20s. So I've known him and his brother for a long time, and fast forward, you know, up to a few years ago, and Andy had relocated down to Florida from Richmond and had quit drinking and all the other things that come with drinking, usually drugging. It's the natural follow through to that, just to keep yourself awake or get yourself to sleep at night. But so, you know, he showed up. I was doing a solo tour down in Florida, and he drove 3 hours up to just sit in with me at the Blue Jay listening room in Jacksonville Beach, and we just had a hell of a time. And then after that, you know, we at the time we had like 4 different guitar players. We were just playing with our friends. I was not sure if we were ever going to, you know, hire on a full-time guy, you know, because we were just having too much fun. And I mean, we have to have fun. I mean, this is a grueling lifestyle, and regardless of what anyone out there thinks, it's not always fun, the process of getting there, but being on stage and being together has got to be fun. And it quickly turned into a lot of fun when Andy jumped on board. We had a couple other guys in and out. Joey from Big Daddy Love, Joel Timmons from Soul Driven Train, and we love all, and we had fun with everybody, but Andy was available and he just wanted to play. And I think what made it great is he got to just kind of experience everything that we did and how we made it work. And in the process of all that, he wrote a bunch of music, made a record, a really good record. And there's nothing I want to see more than him to just fly right over top of us. So we're pulling for him. I was just posting on our social media about his dates today, and he's got to do his thing, So he's out on his own. He's got his band, but anytime we can make it work, where he can come back and do a tour with Yarn, we're gonna have him.
Nice, and that kind of leads into our next question about band members coming and going. You kind of have like this changing cast of characters. Do you find it disruptive at all?
My God, not at all.
Okay.
It's been a blessing, and I don't know what the audience thinks. I know they have their favorites. I've heard some people even say, oh, I like him the best, or that guy the best, or whatever. But it's fun for us, and right now we're playing with Scott Tornay from the Nocturnals, Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. He founded that band, and he is just now this is a guy who's been on stage with Willie Nelson and also in a cafe with two people, you know what I mean? And he's exactly my age. I mean, he gets it from A to Z, and super talent. I mean, just triple threat, singer, songwriter, badass guitar player, and we're also playing with a guy named Dan Hood. So Dan, we hadn't known, but my friend Joey, who's played with us, who still plays with us sometimes, told me about him. And I just kind of trust it. If somebody says somebody's good that I respect and I know, I don't even worry about it. I sent the guy 50 or 40 songs to do a tour with us 2 weeks ago. And it was the first time we played with him. And he sang every harmony part and nailed every guitar. And I told, and I'm like, dude, don't be afraid to steal the show. Please steal the show. It's like, we all have so much fun playing with new people. It brings it, as much as we have our sound, it just brings something fresh every time. And, that's not imperative, but just, we're a little bit of a slutty band, we slut it up.
That's one way to put it.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like we started this band in that fashion. I had this mandolin player who wouldn't commit, so I had to hire these other guitar players. I had, it was always a ever evolving, ever shifting a cast of characters, other than my rhythm section, which for the most part stayed the same. And thank God, me, Ricky, and Bobby have been at it, minus a few, a couple years here and there where they decided to get the hell out for a minute. But we've been together the whole time. And so, we're going on the tour in 2 weeks up in the Northeast. And I'm bringing my buddy from Soul Driven Train, a sax player, on the road with us. So we're going to have Dan Hood on guitar and Russell Clark on sax. I mean, we're just trying to keep it fun because, we're not Bruce Springsteen. We need, that's easy to justify being on the road when you're Bruce Springsteen. You're,
sure,
paying for generation. You got generational wealth and you're taking care of your great grandkids, For us, we make a little bit of money, but we have a good time. So
I was going to say, you're paying the bar bill. That's what you're doing.
Right.
You really can't, you can't rationalize going and playing the gigs that we do and not having fun. I mean, trust me, I've been there. I've done that. And it's, woo.
Well, that kind of openness with personnel, whether you want to call it being a slut band or whatever, it's really refreshing, and it makes you guys, you sound like you're having a lot of fun. And we lost count of how many bands here have that sort of band versus the world, and nobody's more important than the band attitude. And it's destroyed perfectly good bands over the years. So hats off to you for embracing the chaos of having, you know, various interests and pathways for you guys. It's really nice to see. From nice to see to nice to hear. Let's take a quick break, though. We want to listen to more of this new album from Yarn. We're going to take a listen to the tune Long Shot as we go to break. More with Blake Christiana in a moment. This is Roots Music Ramble.
You're a long shot, baby, but I gotta see if you'll ever come home with me. You're a long shot, honey, but I gotta find your perfect company. You're a long shot, baby. You're a million to one. You're some hot odds, honey, but I ain't got nothing to lose, 'cause I'm in love. No, I ain't got nothing. Oh, goodbye, cowgirl, goodbye. You done roped this tight old bull for the very last time, and I'm headed on down the line to find me a more.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That song is Goodbye Cowgirl, and if you don't know any better, you may not think that it is in fact Yarn. It's got more of a kind of a country western feel to it, but that's one of the things that makes our guest today, Blake Christiana from Yarn, very unique. Blake, I want to ask about the blend of sounds that you tend to bring to the table. I really loved your first album from 2007, which was simply named Yarn, but that record I think is almost folk compared to what the band sounds like now. Do you feel like you've changed musically since that first record, or is that blend of different styles just kind of baked into what you do?
Well, I think that's a great way. I mean, it is folk. I think it is a folk record, and we got kind of pigeonholed into bluegrass, and maybe not quite at the right time, you know. But as a live band, we always had electric instruments coming in and out. But that first record, I wanted it to be acoustic. I had a band that was all electric called Blake and the Family Dog, and I had met this mandolin player. He started kind of sitting in with my band, Blake and the Family Dog, in New York City. And then I was like, well, I want to make this a kind of acoustic, country-ish sounding record, folky, whatever you want to call it. And so that's what I did, and that was the record. I didn't know anyone was going to hear it. I didn't know we were going to support it. You know, I knew I was going to play around the city, at whatever little clubs in the Village, Brooklyn, wherever. But didn't know it was going to have any success otherwise. And it did. It got to like in the top 20 on the AMA. So I got offered a couple record deals, and I didn't take any of them. They weren't any good. I mean, it was right at the time when the whole record industry was completely imploding. And so I didn't go down that road, but I thought, well, shit, maybe it'll work. Maybe I can do this for a living. So then when I went to make record number 2, I was like, well, let me not mess with the vibe here. You know, it worked for the first time. And I don't think that's the right mentality to have. I mean, in hindsight, I think, for me anyway, you know, just do what happens, you know. That was kind of I didn't force anything, but I definitely made a conscious effort to not stray too far from what we had already done. And so enter record 3, and I just kind of started having more fun and playing around with things. And then it's just been an evolution. And, you know, it'd be boring otherwise. And, the content, the subject material has changed. I mean, drinking and drugging and doing women wrong and all this stuff was really present in those first couple of albums, and breakup songs, and, a little more immature, stuff was going on. But that's life, right? You're going to follow me through this battle with the human condition, right? So, now I come to a point where I want to be a little more dramatic, and I want to make a statement of one thing, but I also don't want to take myself too seriously, just like Goodbye Cowgirl, So, um, and when it comes to like the sound, it's just like what I'm feeling, and I like, like John Mayer records, and I like Wilco records, but they're also like, okay, I can get this mood throughout the whole record, sometimes the whole catalog. I like the variety. Here we go again. Variety is the spice of life.
Right.
We got 9 million guitar players, and 30 other musicians who come in and out of this band. So, I mean, there is a lot to be said for those bands. I mean, they definitely, I think it's more successful to steer that way, but I like to just keep it fresh, mix it up, and none of it's forced. It's like, my wife told me, my wife's a songwriter, write a song called Goodbye Cowgirl. It was at the end of these recording sessions when we were listening down to however 20 songs we had, and my wife and I were in the car driving somewhere, and she's like, we don't have it yet, we need a few more songs. And Goodbye Cowgirl is one of those songs.
That's a good one. I enjoy that song.
Yeah, I can't remember what else wound up being one of those songs, but there were a few other that wound up on the record that weren't there initially when I was going to put out when we were going to.
Good. It's good to listen to the boss. Yeah.
Right.
No, and she was right. I have this really great song called Goodbye Soldier, and it's like super dark. It's about death. It's about embracing death and losing whatever fight you're involved in to stay alive. And she's like, and it's really good. Production is great. Song is really good. And I don't say that about all my songs. Trust me. But she's like, you just can't put that on the record, Blake. Just don't do it. And she was right. It's just too sad,
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, if we could go back a little bit, you mentioned that you like John Mayer and Wilco. So, is that where your diverse catalog comes from? And who else influences you? And then what is your first music memory? Like, how'd you get started?
Well, John Mayer, I mean, he's like a guilty pleasure. I don't think I've ever been influenced by him, but I will put him on, and he's just so good at what he does.
He's smooth.
He's very smooth. Yeah.
He is so good at it. I mean, I would love to write a song and have someone say that sounds like a John Mayer song, because it's just hits your ears just right. I mean, I'm sure some people hate John Mayer, but Wilco's like the opposite, right? They're like trying to make you a little uncomfortable.
That's a good way to put it.
And so it's funny. I didn't really, by any means, mean to even mention them, other than the fact that they have a very distinct sound.
Yes.
Song to song to song to song. But anyway, I love Tom Waits as a kid. It was classic rock, The Who, the Beatles. I was more Beatles than a Stones guy. Now I'm more a Stones guy than a Beatles guy. The Grateful Dead, of course. As a kid, I got to see Jerry and indulge in all that the Deadheads had to offer us, which was a really amazing universe, of psychedelics and music improvised, and very important, as a musician for me. So yeah, I had a band in high school, and we would practice in my bass player's barn, and it was all like we would gig too. We had some gigs. But it never seemed like a reality of life really so much.
So when did you go from you listening and just playing every now and then to thinking you could do this for a living?
Yeah, I didn't really think I could do it for a living really until that first Yarn record. I was doing Blake and the Family Dog in the City, Weekend Warrior, we had pretty much whenever we wanted gig at a club in on West 3rd Street to bag it in. And so we probably played at least once a week and drank more than the bar could hold pretty much. And we were just blowing off steam and made a record, and then nobody really cared. I got a few interests from some, requests from some bigger labels. So I thought, well, maybe, this was towards the end of all that, I was just talking to Scott, who was in the Nocturnals, about it. He said they put their first record out in 2005, 2006. That was like the last chance at a big old fat record advance. And they were one of the last bands that got it. So, yeah, the music industry when I started was looking very bleak, Napster. Everyone was stealing music. I worked at a place in New York City called the ESRB that rated video games. Half the staff was relocated music executives who lost their jobs.
Wow.
So that was interesting, and so it just, it was perfect for me because my default is negative pessimist and cynic. I'm obviously trying to change that if you listen to the new record, but but so I just that was just my mentality. I didn't think I could do it, but I worked my ass off. And at that job, I pretty much only worked on my music and promoting myself. And then once we started getting some shows, I moved out of the city. I saved money on rent, and I had a fan give me a free house to live in. And I was talking to Andy about this, Andy Thomas. I said, everything has to, you can't connect, you can't know what is going to happen. But when I look back on my career, there are like so many things that luckily fell into place, like that house. We had a van that we lost our first tour van in a van fire. And my roommate at the time was an artist manager for Marc Broussard, and he had a van in the New York City just sitting in a parking lot that he was paying rent on, and I got to drive. We drove that for 2 years. All these little things that happen are the only way we're still around.
Sure.
So it's like I can look back and connect those dots, but trying to plan for any of that or thinking any of that's going to happen is good luck. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a weird. It's like I guess it's like anything. Any business or any dream you have, you can do it. But man, the synchronicity of life really has to add up for you. And and that's just to get to the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And at least in my experience, when those little things, well, maybe not so little, like getting a free place to live in a free van. But when those unexpected things happen, it kind of, you feel like, yes, you're on the right track. Like, okay, maybe I can do this. So
you're always suffering. You're always sacrificing everything for this one thing. And that's the only way it worked as well. And that, that definitely it's caused problems in other parts of my life, but, it's a long climb, and you gotta pay.
Something's working, right? So you've got this hit record now, this hit single, you're doing what bands do, burning up the road to support it all. But then you've got this festival out there in Virginia. Can you tell us about Yarnival and how people can get tickets?
Oh, that's what I need to talk about.
Yes.
I just need to get that thing off the ground. This will be our 6th year. It was an idea I had probably 15, 16 years ago. And I actually talked to a festival promoted about it back then, and now we're working together on it. Johnny Buck from Rooster Walk. So yeah, no, this started as like, well, we got the name Yarn. We got it, we got carnivals. I've always loved, like when I was, I guess 18, we got invited to play Woodstock 94 out on a little in a vending area right outside the gates with my high school band. And I went down there and immediately Woodstock 94, that wasn't like the gross one that happened 5 years later. This was the one that was relatively respectful. But I went in the last day, like we played every day, 3 times a day until the Sunday or whatever. So we went in on Sunday and I saw Traffic, Spin Doctors, I think maybe Dylan, and but Porno for Pyros. I saw Porno for Pyros. And
There you go.
this show was unbelievable. And we had taken some LSD, pretty strong LSD, and all of us, and we're watching this girl with pasties on, on this like 50-foot high pole swinging down, and a clown slitting his throat. I mean, it was insane. It was like this show that, made an impact. Like, Perry Farrell is kind of an insane human being, and I dig his musical career, and how he's going about doing things with Lollapalooza. So Carnival, I thought it
Makes
would
sense.
just be super fun. I'll have magicians, I'll have carnival acts, I got an acrobat squad, I've got a freak show, I've got magic, I got this guy doing horror magic, I've got another magic troupe doing magic, but I've also got the North Mississippi All-Stars, Danger Muffin,
Nice.
Press Some Strings, Haley Jane, Big Daddy Love, Scott Tournay's doing his own set. I always forget
Crazy.
most of the bands, but it's a labor of love. And I did it.
Sure.
Last year was the first year we did it on a larger scale, and I didn't lose too much money, but a little bit. So, we're trying to really up our game this year and see what happens. I mean, I'd love to make it an annual event. I'm getting a little older, and, I'm not going to be, I'll be touring, but I'm not going to tour probably 100 dates a year for much longer, but as a band anyway. So it'd be nice to have that one big show a year where you get all your diehard fans together and can do that till I'm 6 feet under,
Well, you get all your fans together, but then you get all these bands together, and everybody's having a good time. Which,
most of these bands are my friends. Like, I've known them for years, and
for sure,
that's what's so fun. I'm giving them a gig, and we all get to hang out again. And I mean, I don't really get to hang out. I'm like pretty much working 24
right
7 for 4 days, but hopefully that'll change too. So if we get these numbers up, I can hire more people and I don't have to work so damn hard.
There you go.
But October 8, 9, 10, Pops Farm, Martinsville, Virginia, Yarnaville. Get your tickets through our website or through the Yarnaville website, which is yarnavillefestival.com. Please buy your tickets now so I can spend more money.
Right.
Yeah. We need more freak show.
More freak show for sure.
If I don't make a dime, but I break even and I give you the best weekend of your year, then that's better than any money. It's way worth it.
Well, Blake, before we let you go, to tell folks where they can find you. You talked about yarnavillefestival.com, but where can we find more about Yarn, your music, all that good stuff on their interwebs?
Yarnmusic.net, but even if you just type Yarn Music in Google, we come right up. I mean, it's hard to not find us if you just know those two words.
Yeah.
And
you got to include the second You got to include the second word, because if you just type yarn, you're not necessarily going to get
It's going to take
You're gonna be like
thousands and
crocheting.
thousands of pages. And you might be there for a few weeks trying to find us. And yeah, no, but if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, just follow us, save us, and save our songs. It's I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this or say this, but it helps the algorithm and it gets us into more people's ears. And if you want us to make more music, that's really what happens. So hit save, hit follow, share. I literally, this might be the last time I ask people to do this because I'm so sick of it.
Understood.
But I'm going to say it today.
All right. Well, we'll make sure there's links in the show notes to all that at rootsmusicrambler.com. Of course, the short URL to the episode will be rootsmusic.link/yarn. Blake, Christiana, thanks for spending some time with us, my man. Good to catch up and hang. We're excited to see this record keep kicking ass and appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for getting the word out. It's like that, you guys are a labor of love. I know you're not doing it for any other reason than because you love it. And that's really pretty much the only reason I'm doing it at this point. So we are on the same team and we're on the same page. And I will see you in Chicago. And I will see you in hopefully Lexington.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Blake.
He is Blake Christiana from Yarn. The album is Saturday Night Sermon. It's out and available now. Yarn Fest coming up in October in Martinsville, Virginia. Go there, go listen to the tunes, get tangled up in some yarn, y'all. The Pickin the Grinnin segment is up next. Stick around, but let's go out with the title track from Yarn's new album. We're going back to church a bit. Saturday Night Sermon. Stay tuned. This is Roots Music Rambler.
It's Saturday night in this carnival we call life, and we've got us a sermon to sing. We'll touch on the good times, the laughter, the joy, and the pain it all often brings. The heartache, death and shame, peace, love, and faith, the celebration of a good fight. All our welcome soul, welcome aboard to this sermon called Saturday Night.
Oh, can't you just belly up and have a beer with old Blake? This is some good shit right there, man. I'm so glad he came on, and I'm really glad the band's doing well. This album is doing well. I think we mentioned in there somewhere that it was top 15 this week, but it had been in the top 10 at one point from the album perspective, not just the single Good Things, which has done well on the charts too. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy that album too.
Yeah. All right. It is time for our Pickin the Grinnin segment. This is where Frank and I offer up our picks of what's making us grin, at least when we put stuff in our earballs. And so that would be a song, an artist, maybe an album, maybe a podcast, maybe a musical, maybe, I don't know, whatever. It might be more than what we're listening to. It might be something else we want to recommend to you, but that's what we do here. We recommend shit. So, Frank, what is your Pickin the Grinnin for this week?
Oh, I get to go first this time? Yay!
Yes, you do.
All right, so my pick this week is Steph Strings. No relation to Billy. All right, so Steph is an Australian singer-songwriter. She is from Melbourne. She's described as a dynamic guitarist whose music merges fingerstyle brilliance with storytelling steeped in nature, emotion, and adventure. And how I first was introduced to Steph Strings was last weekend, or more than a week ago now. Tom and I went up to Milwaukee for the weekend. And if you don't know, Milwaukee hosts a huge like concert series every year. It's called Summerfest. It used to be like 10 consecutive days, but then after COVID, they broke it up. So now it's like 2 weekends only, like 4-day weekends. We were going to be in Milwaukee anyway, so we went to Summerfest because Deer Tick was playing, and you remember we had fun with Deer Tick last summer. So we saw Deer Tick, and as we're walking away from the stage that they played on the other stage, there's this woman, and she's playing a guitar, and I was completely mesmerized. We weren't close enough for me to like actually see her playing like on the stage, but they had the big monitors, so I was just standing there and like watching her, the finger movements on the guitar. And I was seriously mesmerized. And then she was like, oh, well, after the set, I'll be over at the merch tent if you want to come say hi. And Tom and I tried, but Summerfest gets crowded and we just couldn't make our way over there. But, I'm a fan. So check it out. She just released her debut album in January of this year. And that is called, I believe it's called Feel Alive. Yes. Feel Alive is the name of the album. And if you're into that sort of thing, it's not just guitar. There are other instruments on the album. When she was playing, when we caught her, she was solo. So just her and the guitar, but really good like banjo playing and stuff on the album. So yeah, check her out. Steph Strings.
All right, Steph Strings. I like it. That's a good one. I'm going to jump back to our conversation in the first part of the program about the Cowan Creek Mountain Music School. I could probably do a Pickin the Grinnin if I picked one person for the next 80 weeks or 80 shows. I could probably pick somebody from Cowan Creek.
Okay.
But I wanted to call this one out because I was really wowed by Roxanne McDaniel.
Okay.
And Roxanne McDaniel is a dulcimer player. And I've grown up in the Eastern Kentucky mountains. I've seen people play dulcimers for years. I've seen and heard some people who can play it pretty well. She started playing in one of the little faculty recitals at Cowan Creek Mountain Music School last week. And within 10 seconds, I was like, am I seeing the Eddie Van Halen of the mandolin? What the hell is happening with that instrument right now?
Mandolin or dulcimer?
I'm sorry, dulcimer. She plays the dulcimer the way Jeff Healey played electric guitar. So Jeff Healey, played the electric guitar much like a dulcimer, just laying flat. He was blind, obviously, but that's how he learned to play. But the way that she did not use the sort of, the fret pick that, makes the dulcimer sound. She finger picked.
Okay.
Or she did her chords and notes and whatnot with her fingers and then strummed with a pick. And I'd only seen the dulcimer play that way maybe once or twice, which is probably my bad. But the way she played it and the perfection with which she was hitting the notes, I was just like, oh, wow, I'm seeing something really amazing here. You could just tell by the way she was playing. It doesn't matter if you know the music or know the dulcimer at all. You could tell by the way she was playing. It was excellent. And my only regret about the week last week probably is that I did not find time to grab and introduce myself to Roxanne McDaniel because she was fantastic. She played a couple of different times. I'm trying to make sure that I find the name of her band because I want to make sure y'all know that. Brat Folk. Brat Folk is the name of her band. It's a duo between her and a percussionist. So she's the primary musician here. But Brat Folk is playing around at some festivals and whatnot. They're based in Johnson City, Tennessee, I believe. And Brat Folk is playing around at some festivals. So if you see Brat Folk on the bill, that's going to be Roxanne McDaniel, and go listen because it's amazing. And I haven't had time yet to do the due diligence to know that she's got stuff on Spotify and stuff like that. But if she does, we're going to link it in the show notes. She was fantastic. I was blown away.
Excellent.
There you go.
Wow. We got some neat Pickin the Grinnins here.
Yeah. Something a little different. I almost did a Pickin the Grinnin because I started reading a book.
What?
I'll give
Does
you
it have pictures?
Shush. I will give you all a little teaser. And I think you'll be proud of me out there, you listeners and watchers and stuff who've been around for a while, because I started reading a book about Wilco. And there's a specific reason I started reading it, and I'm not done with it yet, which is why I wanted to hold off on the Pickin the Grinnin. I want to finish it. But I'm trying to do a little bit more due diligence with Wilco and make sure I understand them better and don't just judge the music on the surface. And so I'm trying to get smarter about the Wilcos. We've had the Does Wilco Suck episode. We determined they did not.
And we got hate mail because of it.
But yeah, we did. We got haters because of it, which was fantastic. But I think it probably very clearly came across that I was not the biggest Wilco fan in the world. At least the last few years, I don't think their music's as good as it was once, that kind of thing. That's the summary of the old episode. Anyway, I'm reading a book about Wilco. I'm trying to get smarter. I'm trying to understand Jeff Tweedy a little more.
Okay.
So I am trying to make up for lost time with that band a little bit and get smarter about it so that I can be more intelligent about how I speak to you about Wilco.
Okay.
Not because of my haters. Fuck you guys. I don't care about you.
Yeah. What was that guy's name? Greg? Fuck Greg.
Know. Doesn't matter. But anyway, so I'm reading a book and I'll let you know more about it on a future Pickin the Grinnin or
please do
something like that. But I'm reading a book about Wilco and I'm impressed so far.
All right.
There you go.
Look forward to hearing more about that.
All right. I think it's time for us to go. Roots Music Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners, copyright 2026. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Genticorum. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com and make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoe-Down and Throwdown. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
Whatever you do, kids, ramble on.